Right, so writer to writer, okay? We need to be able to write wherever we are, or maybe needs too strong a word. Actually isn't want, sometimes a bit too strong a word. We should be out burning things and cutting things in the garden. Anyway, if we have a setup, right, a system where we can write absolutely anywhere, maybe we'll actually do it. Maybe we will write instead of just absolutely, totally, certainly going to do that when I get home. What was that idea again? Yeah, even if you remember the idea, you're not going to write when you get home, are you? I'm not judging, I'm agreeing. So you can't, say, carry your desktop Mac around with you, although you just saw me thinking there. I have actually done it. I brought a Mac Mini to a hotel once, and I was able to plug it into the room's TV set. I got so much done that afternoon. It was a very sore chair though. The smoke from somewhere burning is coming across. MacBook Air and MacBook Pro, that would be the better option, obviously, but often actually you can't even lug one of those around. I mean, very often partners, friends, they won't remain partners and friends if you do go, yeah, I'll be out in a minute. Yeah, okay. Though, am I actually going to recommend this? Recommend it? Certainly not. That came out of nowhere. Admit it is the word I was looking for. I once took a typewriter on holiday. I'm still apologising. Anyway, so right now at this table, okay, let's say I need to write, and you know I have the answer, or I wouldn't be talking to you about it, or what I think is the answer anyway. And since this is 58 keys, I didn't say, hello, I'm William Gallagher. This is 58 keys, and 58 keys is always and forever for writers. Writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs and iPhones and iPads. iPads, that's a good point. iPads are pretty small, aren't they? But sometimes even they're too big. What we're going to do is write. But I promise you, the way we're going to do it, what we're going to look at is, I'm going to eventually call it the second Littlest writing setup, the second. So why do you please subscribe or support 58 Keys on Patreon? Yeah, let me answer the thing that I think might be crossing your mind at this time. Yeah, paper and pen. You can do it. I mean, all right, but I think actually I do specifically mean you can do it, because I can't. If I handwrite a line, okay, then by the time I've picked up the pen at the end of the sentence, I can no longer read what I wrote. And I'm far from proud of this, but I used to try though. Actually, for such a lot of years, I used to always have it, you know, like one of those narrow reporter's notebooks, and I'd have it slung in my back pocket. Friends did not appreciate that at all. What's going to happen? Woodward and Bernstein. Yeah. But I found that if I didn't have it with me, then things did happen. Or, yeah, more often things came up that made me wish I had it. So, clever here. I carried that notebook with the express purpose that I knew nothing interesting would happen, nothing interesting would come to my mind while it was with me. It's not really the answer then, is it? And also handwriting deteriorated, yeah. Handwriting or not though, whether or not you need to write like me, I need to think through the typing, okay? But whether you like that or not, it's always the case that we quite often need to get something written quickly. And it's very often the case when that happens, in that case, we need to then do something with that text pretty sharpish. We're writing it to send it somewhere, to a publisher, to an editor, or to a website, whatever. So I want us to have the second Littlest writing setup I can. And so I was going to go for my iPhone. Of course, I'm writing on my iPhone, but there's a small problem there. I'm filming this on my iPhone. Okay, actually, hang on one sec. Oh, right, okay. Thank you very much. Now, I can take my iPhone and I can write on it, okay? I can write in Pages and Scrivener, in Final Draft, on the outliner. Whatever app I'm actually used to on the Mac or the iPad, pretty much, or close to certainly, it's on here as well, and I can type directly onto the glass. Plus, by the way, you can swipe to type, which is a way of getting text in quickly. And of course you can also dictate. I mean, you don't need the phone for that. I could dictate into my watch, and I suppose that would beat what I want to show you for being smaller, just all right. For me though, as great as dictation is, I need the keys under my fingers. I need to write, and I think, and so I present my iPhone and this. This is the Microsoft folding keyboard. Open it up, press that button, and anything I type on here is entered into the iPhone. And actually, just as an aside, since we're talking about. So if I instead tap there, I'm probably clean off the dirt, anything I type goes into my iPad instead. But you're thinking there's a bit of a flaw here. There's this huge gap down the center of the keyboard, and if you're a touch typist as I am, then you've got to be thinking, well, you're screwed, aren't you? Yeah? No. It takes getting used to, but I think it takes moments to get used to that split. I don't understand how, but I do find that if I stop to think about it, it goes wrong. So as long as I'm writing something interesting enough to keep my mind occupied on the writing, there are no problems with this keyboard. And this is actually a remarkable, I mean, you see how thin it is. It's remarkable for how it feels. There's a surprising amount of travel on the keys. Travel, if you don't happen to know, is the distance a key has to be pressed down before it registers that you're typing a letter. The whole feel of the keyboard is not dependent on the travel. I don't think you would want to type thousands and thousands of words on this, but you can, and I have. Actually though, I do keep talking about the second Littlest writing setup, and I suppose, well, I mean, it has to be small, but the phone's small enough. Really, actually, it's only the phone that needs to be truly small, isn't it? Because you could use any Bluetooth keyboard, you could use anything with your iPhone, and once it's paired up, it works exactly the same way. In fact, in this case, button for the iPhone, button for the iPad, button for the Mac. All works the same way as it does with that folding keyboard. It's just, that is bigger. You need to find the right compromise between a keyboard big enough to type on, big enough to be worth bothering with, but small enough to be convenient. And for me, this Microsoft folding keyboard, isn't it? Not quite. It's so close, and it is what I use when I don't have my iPad, with my MacBook, my iPad, the Magic Keyboard. When I don't have any of those with me, that's what I use. But you see that neat little fold? I could really do with it being just a tiny bit more of a fold, or have the keyboard be just a bit smaller. Because while I do have jackets that it fits into, you can be certain that that isn't the jacket I'm wearing when I need to show off that it fits in a pocket. So this little writing setup, okay, it's nearly perfect. And as long as I do have that jacket on, the one with the big pockets, or a coat, or a bag, or worse than me, my car's nearby or something, this is great. This is the setup. But I haven't said the words second Littlest writing setup quite often enough that I suspect you're wondering, am I dragging this out deliberately? Well, yes, but if you're going to accuse me of that, let me drag it out just a little bit more. Let me exploit your suspicion there, because there's something else, okay? There's something actually I'm concerned about. There used to be an even smaller keyboard called a TextBlade. Look at that. It never shipped as a finished retail product, but several hundred were sent out to testers over many years, and I was one of them. The TextBlade keyboards, okay, so they were sent out to testers, great, but I was also kind of sent back. I was brought over. The company that makes them flew me from the UK to Los Angeles, showed me everything, impressed the hell out of me in every step, every part of the company, the lot. I mean, but then over time, keyboard just didn't come out and they vanished. So, forget the keyboard. I'm concerned about the people in that company, and I can't reach them. For some reason, I can't reach them to just see if they're okay. I loved the keyboard. I wish the keyboard had come out on sale. I wish my one was still working. There's some software apps you need to do it with, and that's not been updated, I don't think. But it's the people. If you know how any of them are, can you please leave a comment and let me know, would you? Or if it needs to be private or anything, just email me, wg@williamgallagher.com, and I'd be really grateful for it. And I like these people, and I did also love the keyboard, plus I owe the people. I can't actually fathom out now how I found this out or figured this out or whatever, but I did. When I went over to see them, I found that one of my writing heroes was working in an office across the street from the TextBlade people. Across the street. April Smith. At the time then, she was working on the Mrs. America drama. And I got to meet up with her and with Seth Freeman. These are two names that now, I love this, they now occasionally pop up in my email inbox. In my email, there are those names, April Smith and Seth Freeman, instead of just being credits on the TV series Lou Grant. Lou Grant is the show that made me want to be a writer. And because of TextBlade, I got to say so to two of my absolute writing heroes. Yeah, I also got to entirely embarrass myself. I was a complete fanboy. I squirmed, but they were very nice to me. Anyway, so back to the practical stuff. TextBlade, yeah, it would be smaller than Microsoft keyboard, so it would have made an even littler, is that a word? Yes, writing setup. Yet, the reason I keep talking about this as being the second Littlest keyboard setup that I've used is that I've just changed one element of it. That wasn't the second Littlest setup. This is. I just moved from an iPhone 15 Pro to an iPhone 16 Pro Max. So instead of a 6.1 inch screen, I have a 6.9 inch one. I mean it when I say it's just arrived, by the way. So a bit early to say. I truly do not know whether this enormous and actually I'm surprised to say quite heavy phone is too big for carrying around. It's too big for everything else I do with my iPhone. But actually, even in a few moments, I'm already sure that it does make this is the second Littlest writing setup, it makes it better. The whole screen, the big, more to see, more to... My writing business in two pockets. If I'm wearing the right jacket. Yeah, let's not try that again. All right, okay, also might also need room for this, a charger. So, you know, back pocket. Okay, all right, and yeah. That's it for this edition of me trying to justify buying such an expensive new iPhone. I mean, it's such an expensive Apple Watch Series 10 as well. I mean, 58 keys. Thanks for watching. Now take care of yourself, eh? Write more on anything and anywhere you can. And I'll see you soon.